In the PlayStation era, several games were created that became iconic for its console. The main ones were Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. But these two intellectual properties were sold and lost their exclusivity on Sony's console. So the successor of this console, that is the PlayStation 2, was not the only console that had them. Instead, the development companies created other new intellectual properties to release them exclusively. Perhaps the one that left the biggest mark from this event was Insomniac Games, who were the creators of Spyro, and their legacy remained in the hands of Ratchet and Clank. This title was developed by Insomniac Games, released in 2002, distributed by Sony Computer Entertainment, and came out exclusively for the PlayStation 2. It was also included in the trilogy released on the PlayStation 3, a compilation of the three main games of the saga. During its development, Naughty Dog was asked to lend them the technology used in creating Jak and Daxter. They agreed on the condition that they would share all the innovations they achieved with it. So both companies created a mutual bond, becoming among the most important and powerful developers creating games exclusively for the console. Everything begins with the introduction of Ratchet, a Lombax who is repairing his ship, but it won't work until he has a robotic ignition system. At that same moment, we are in a distant robot factory, where a defective robot comes out, created by Chairman Drek. This latter character is stealing fragments of planets to create his own, because the one they had is overpopulated and polluted. But by taking these fragments, the planets are destroyed. Drek realizes he was spied on by the robot and gives the order to destroy it. The robot escapes in a ship and ends up crashing on planet Veldin, the same one where Ratchet is. Ratchet sees the crash and goes to investigate what happened. Upon impact, he finds the robot in standby mode and takes it to his garage. Later, it wakes up and begins to tell the Lombax what is happening. In this conversation, the name of the Galactic Superhero Corps comes up, and the robot decides he has to go ask for his help. But he can't go alone and convinces Ratchet to help him find Quark. Fortunately, this metallic friend has the latest innovations for the ship's ignition. Also, several ships have arrived on the planet to look for him, so they take off. As they head into space, the robot introduces himself with his serial number. But to shorten it, Ratchet names him Clank because of the sound he makes when interrupted by turbulence. That is how Ratchet, a Lombax, and Clank, a small robot, form a team to search for the supreme hero of the galaxy to safeguard order, thus beginning their adventure. The game is a 3D platformer. Most of the time we use Ratchet, while Clank is on his back and has several gadgets that he will acquire along the way to progress in the game or access certain areas of planets that we couldn't reach until we get them. It features the basic movement components for this type of game. We jump, move in all directions, crouch, wall jump, and also swim and hang from platforms. For defense, you have two types of weapons. The main one is the Omni Wrench, which can hit enemies in melee combat, can be thrown, a very versatile weapon that also serves to activate certain switches by screwing a bolt with it. But we also have an arsenal of weapons that allow us to defend ourselves at a distance from enemies. Each has a limited number of bullets, different firing patterns, damage, and impact effects. These are bought in virtual shops, represented by a metal box. Weapons can be selected on the pause screen, in the weapons section, or via a direct selector in the game, where our character will stop while we choose the weapons we have arranged in that area. But the action does not stop, so we must be very cautious and fast, especially if we are in combat. On the different planets, we find various crates. By destroying some, we find gittins, nuts and bolts that serve as in-game currency. Also, when killing enemies, they drop these gittins. It is very important to collect all you can in the game, because besides buying weapons with them, many characters will ask for a certain amount to obtain some gadget to progress and get an attachment or upgrade. Apart from this, there will be ammo crates that when broken give a quantity of ammunition for a specific weapon. Besides this way of obtaining them, you can also buy them in the same weapon shops. We have a series of puzzles in the game to progress. Among them, emptying and filling certain portions of the stage with water, using a hacker to break the security of some doors, a balancing device, etc. These are attachments that allow us to advance. They can be selected on the gadget screen or placed in a slot in our limited quick select inventory. The objective of each planet is assigned according to the mission given by the infobots, robots that show a cutscene of what is happening and the coordinates to reach it. We have several missions, which are marked on our map. We can access it by pressing the select button, where we see in orange the places we have visited, letting us know which direction to take. On the planets, we have different ways of traversing. In some sections we use rails to slide, in others we have to swim. Underwater, your oxygen is limited and you can die if you don't come up for air, at least until you find an oxygen mask. Then it's no longer a problem, no matter how long you stay underwater. Other places are inaccessible for Ratchet, so we use Clank. This changes the mechanics a bit. He has no weapons and punches with his fists, but he has the ability to communicate with robots. These will follow orders such as attacking enemies or being used so that a certain number enter doors and open another section. We also pilot a spaceship, launching missiles and shooting at different targets. We can freely navigate a portion of the stage, and after finishing the mission, we return to controlling our character. There are also races. We ride a hoverboard and have to come in first place. We can do tricks and accumulate a counter to increase our speed. To be honest, it's very boring and complicated. One could dismiss it as a minigame, but the truth is you need to get past these parts to continue the game. So this part is very bad. We withstand 3 hits, with the possibility of increasing our health. To do that, we must find a vending machine that grants this increase. To heal, we have to hit some crates with transparent walls that contain nanotech. This heals your wounds, and thus your health. Apart from that, there is no other way. There are no lives, but when you die, you return to the last checkpoint, which are usually places where the weapon vending machine is. Something to consider. When you die, you keep your money, but your ammunition remains spent, and the crates you break will not respawn unless you re-enter the planet. So there's a small price for dying, not significant, but as the game progresses, you'll realize that ammunition is very scarce, especially for useful weapons. We have several collectibles. The first are giant gold bolts, hidden on various planets. To know how many are hidden, before entering the planet it tells you how many there are. Often they're very well hidden, so we need to search carefully. But if you're patient in the game, you will unlock an attachment that shows all hidden areas in green, which is generally where these bolts are located. Weapons can also be considered collectibles. It's not required to have them all, but they are very helpful, especially in the final moments, since it's common to run out of ammo. On one planet, there's a place where we can buy golden weapons with our regular and golden guns. These not only change their appearance compared to their common counterparts, but they also deal more damage to enemies and have secondary effects, such as bouncing off walls, larger explosions, etc. So it's important to look for them to make life easier. Additionally, after finishing the game, a series of challenges are unlocked where we must meet certain requirements, like killing a certain number of enemies with a weapon on a specific planet. These are optional, with the drawback that they explain nothing about how to do them, so it's very difficult to achieve them without the help of a guide. The enemies are varied. Some attack up close and take advantage of their numbers. Others have different weapons that create unique attack patterns we must dodge. There are also vehicles that absorb many weapon hits with high ammo, like tanks and ships. Unfortunately, few become unmistakable, as most are robots with different shapes and attacks, but very little memorability. One of the weaker aspects are the bosses, with the exception of one and the final boss. The vast majority are forgettable, and there are very few of them. The fights are somewhat difficult because they are damage sponges. We have to dodge their attacks, but we often die unfairly because we fall off the stage or miscalculate. I feel this happens because of how hard it is to damage them, especially when using your strongest weapons, as it seems they all deal the same damage. Ironically, it's more effective to shoot them with the weakest weapons, since they are faster and have more ammo. A reboot of this title was made in 2016, released together with a movie. Both tell the same story and made different changes and improvements compared to this title. I think it's important to take a look at it later. The game is entertaining, but one of its biggest problems is that many places become very forgettable, as they lack personality. You can rarely tell one from another. Most look like asteroids with a modern civilization that we must walk around. Another problem is the brightness of the image. You can't adjust it as in other titles, and often we won't see much, especially on planets with a dark appearance, making it hard to see where you're going. You might adjust it with your TV's brightness, but this is quite annoying because you'll have to readjust it for other games or other content. I would recommend it for its humor. It's a game that has interesting twists, but takes them with a lot of humor. It's also good to see the relationship between the two co-protagonists, since they don't always agree, and we see that evolution of friendship they share. Although in my opinion, it was somewhat inexplicable how they get along so badly and still stay together. The versatility of weapons is good. You'll be buying and testing them, although many will be discarded after a short time, sticking with and using the one you like best, even though in certain sections it's easier to get through with one you have stored in the trunk of forgotten ones. The search for collectibles is very entertaining, as you have to search every corner of the game, and they're useful because they make your life much easier. The gadgets allow you to have different upgrades. That's appreciated, but the vast majority are of little use. The ones we must use by necessity are fine, but others like the portable shop or the Sonic Invoker helmet are among the most useless, as you rarely find a place to use them, and they have very short duration. Above all, it's a very attractive game for those who played the following entries, even though they will feel very significant changes and things that improve later. But most importantly, I recommend it for Captain Quark. That guy is a gem in these games. I would not recommend it for its difficulty, especially dying constantly becomes very frustrating. The bosses are difficult for the wrong reasons, especially because they last a long time and technically kill you with one breath, but it can be considered a challenge. Also, the places, as I said, are very forgettable. It's not a bad title, but its successors changed the mechanics so much that playing this one is very difficult. Still, you have to consider that it's the first game in the saga, so you can't ask for much. This is one of the first games with which the PlayStation 2 began its exclusives. You could say they forgot their past glories and brought new properties. A very interesting thing, because nowadays it's rare for companies to take those risks when introducing a new intellectual property, especially from the almost forgotten genre of platformers, with lots of shooting and the most varied weapons. If you like seeing a lightning bolt turn a robot into a chicken, then Ratchet and Clank is your best option. I hope you liked the video. If so, get a like. If you know someone who might like it, share it on your social networks. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. If you have any questions, suggestions, or just want to comment on something, don't hesitate to do so in the comment box. Also, if you are a big fan of this channel, activate the notification bell to be among the first to see the videos. I'll leave you my social networks so you can follow me. On Facebook, I upload some videos and interesting things through that medium. On Instagram, I post photos of interesting things. On Twitter, you can see a summary of all my activity, which you can find in the description of this video. I also have a Patreon page where people can sponsor this project and make it grow much faster. You can see the reward that best suits you, also in the description. For all people who don't understand Spanish, remember that you can enjoy all videos with subtitles in English, German, French, Italian, Korean, Japanese, Portuguese, Russian, and Hindi. Don't forget to check out my channel City Animal, my main channel, where I upload 2 videos a week, all focused on the animal world. I hope you like them. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you later.